So we speak about a lot of different live action news on this channel, but on this podcast. But there's one piece of live action news we haven't been talking about, again, because there hasn't really been any news on it, and it actually doesn't involve US live action, because usually we focus a lot about the US live action movies that are coming out and maybe not looking so good, and live action adaptations of different anime. And here we're focusing on the Japanese live action adaptation of Fullmetal Alchemist. And there's a poster up, and if you're watching the video, you'll see the poster right down below, right next to us somewhere. And I have to say, the poster doesn't look that bad. The content, though, of the movie kind of has me a little bit confused, because the content, apparently they aged up, they aged up, not Alphonse, they aged up Ed to 20.
Edward, yeah.
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 Alphonse, they aged him up to full CG. They aged up the special effects to full CG. I don't know
He
why.
aged so fast, he doesn't have a body.
Exactly.
He doesn't even have a tin suit body.
Exactly. You know, it's interesting. Looking at the pictures, it looks amazing. I don't know why he would need it, though. Like, why you need full CG. But if it looks that good in motion as it does just as a still image, then hey, they have the money. CG is it's getting less and less expensive as the years go on. So good for them being able to do that. I just think that, you know, having a full metal suit, there wouldn't be any problem with that. Although, being in a dusty area like that, it probably makes it a lot easier to have CG than having a suit get all dusted up and then they have to clean it and have to have like multiple suits. So maybe CG is easier, right? CG and motion capture. But yeah, so Ed's been aged up. And it's interesting because apparently this says that they're trying to tell the whole story.
Yeah, that's what kind of caught my attention too. Like, oh, that's ambitious.
Extremely ambitious, especially because of who we see in the poster. Unless one of them is meant to be, I can't remember his name, but the guy running all this stuff. I can't remember his name.
Oh, yeah.
It's been a very long time since I finished the series.
I remember which one he is, but...
Well, no, but I just don't remember his name. But if he's in this poster, because obviously it's hard to tell who's who, obviously, other than knowing, like, oh, dang, that's Ed, and oh, hey, that's Roy, and that's Envy, you know? And that's Greed, right? But yeah, if he's in the poster, which I'm pretty sure... Oh, of course, that's Hawkeye. But let's see if he is there. What's interesting is, here's the thing too, by the way. They're trying to say we're going to tell the whole story in one movie, and yet for some reason, Sho Tucker is there. I know that he technically has something to do with everything, but wouldn't you remove him if you're trying to tell everything? It's a heart-wrenching moment to have him in there.
Yeah.
But why would he be in the movie if it's only going to be like an hour 20, 2-hour movie? Like, I would be cutting a lot of stuff out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's very strange that they're doing that. Also, it seems like they cut out a lot of the Asia arc. I mean, just looking from the poster itself, they don't really have any of those characters featured.
Right.
So I'm wondering why they are doing it this way. I mean, I think that this could have been a very good, like a 3-movie trilogy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I think it would have made a lot of money. So I'm really interested in why they thought that this was the best route to go.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's fine. I mean, I just don't understand why they've cut out so many characters and why they're telling this story in only one movie. That's strange.
And I find it interesting that they've gone for the idea, like, a few live-action movies from anime to live-action have had people, you know, arguing about who should be playing who and things like that. But the idea that here it said the cast is entirely Japanese, but obviously the manga itself has some cultural references back to Europe.
Yeah.
So they've stated that none of the actors in the movie or anything that is said on screen does not show like an origin from anywhere, really specifically.
Interesting. Okay. Right. So then that's kind of how we just have to assume that every anime dub into English, and both even in Japanese, like, because obviously, people that are saying like, oh, but it's a live action, why wouldn't you cast all, European or American, English, whatever you want to call it, these people that are talking about this online, and you sit to them, you look at them rather, and you sit them down, and you tell them, if that were the case, then the entire anime would have been dubbed in English from the get-go, and they would have Japanese subtitles, you know what I'm saying? Like, no, like, you have to understand that, in Japan, not the audience, but the people living there, the majority of them are Japanese. So they're going to cast mostly Japanese people. Or at the very least, Japanese people that look this way. Because to be fair, you can be Japanese and you can look anyway, to be fair. Just the same way you can be American and look anyway. But still, they're going to look this way. But in America, it's a lot different. And there's talk about all this diversity and stuff like that. Because America isn't just made up of only one, race of people. And you say, that's American, right? So America arguably is much more diverse than Japan, which is why you're going to have, a lot more, even actors too, by the way. Can you, do we have stats? I'm sure we don't, but do we have stats on how many actors that are either A, foreign, or B, Japanese, but don't look this way, that are acting and could even be hired for this movie? You know what I'm saying?
And that would be the other problem too. Like, if they wanted to get, say, European actors, it's like, that's a lot to shell out to get them to come to Japan, or for the director and their crew to go to Europe.
Exactly. So that's why it's a little rough, like it can, like that, talking about that, because the same thing happened with the Attack on Titan film as well. So, because you would argue after, I don't know about you, but I would argue after seeing the anime, very European, right? All of the actors, very European. But clearly the live action movie went for an all Japanese cast as well. So, I don't think the casting decisions will be a reason why you shouldn't see this movie. It'll be if they adapt the story properly in this, what I assume to be an hour, 20-minute format. Will it be adapted well? I don't know.
I'm going to go for 2.
Oh, I would hope it would be 2. I would shoot for 2. But even that, will the 2-hour format adapt it well? I don't know. And that's something we'll have to find out. I don't really think the actors are the biggest issue here. And the poster looks great too, by the way. It really looks like they tried to capture the... that's the one thing I'll say. The one thing I'll say, despite, something like us talking about... Because I know you and I did a podcast on Friday Night Movies about the Death Note movie, right? And despite you and I talking about and the Death Note movie, by the way, not the Netflix one, the original Japanese one. And despite, some of the negative stuff we had to say about it, it wasn't completely negative, but despite some of the negative stuff we said about it, I still have to say that it feels like, and I haven't seen the Attack on Titan films, and I'm not talking about the content itself, but when it comes to at least the way the posters look and the promotional artworks and things like that, it really feels like Japan, maybe because it originated there, because that's their audience originally, it doesn't seem like they try to make it any less anime, I guess.
Right.
You know,
they know how to... they know how to frame it, and the cost, I don't know, I guess in lighting and just the way the characters portray themselves or hold themselves.
Yeah, I'm not going to bring up what. I'm not going to bring up that movie, but the movie I brought up, it's I'm not going to bring it up, Tristan. I'm just saying that it feels like when you bring something over to America, the first thought is, all right, how do we change it so everyone doesn't think that it's weird? And it's just then why did you want to bring it over in the first place? Yeah. So I feel like if this was picked up by someone who didn't want to actually, have a poster like this, it'd be well, first off, aging Ed up, I will admit, that is the one thing I'm come on, guys, really? But other than that, it feels as if, looking at it from, not even the content, just, again, from the outfits, it'd be no, that guy, that's too much, that looks weird. Why does she have those claws? That's weird. Don't show the claws off. Don't do that. You know what I'm saying? Don't do this. That looks weird. Don't do that. Why is he flicking his hand like that? Oh, he has fire powers? Why would he have fire powers? Remove that. And they're but what do you mean? You know what I'm saying? We have to appeal to a wider audience. So yeah, I just, look, I'm not saying that Death Note didn't do some things that kind of made me feel like it's the wider audience thing, right? I'm not saying Death Note didn't do that. But I feel like when it comes to Japanese adaptations, if there's something that's off or wrong or just doesn't really, people don't like, it's probably due to time constraints and not because of, we thought that was too weird and that needed to be changed because you guys aren't going to get that. It's kind of guys, you're looking at the numbers. You see why you're picking it up. You're picking it up because it's popular here. Don't change this.
Right.
You know?
Because even the director has gone on record saying he wants to keep the story as close to the manga as he can for a film.
Exactly,
so.
And that's great. So, so we'll see what happens with it.